and you're buying the book too about the brain, we're talking about Mastermind, this book goes right along with what we're talking about, and it's only $5. And it's not going to go on sale either, okay? It's only $5, so there you go. I'm continuing the series this morning, Mastermind, and I just know that God is really, really working in my life. He's talking to me as I'm walking through His Word and revisiting the life of the Apostle Paul, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're looking at Paul as a great example of a person that just lays down for us a tremendous model and a tremendous example of what we can do and what we can accomplish with the help and the power of God. Today we're going to talk about reframing, okay? Reframing. I'm going to refer to that in a more direct way here in a minute, but I got to get one more of my props over here that Ashley never brought to me. She forgot to bring this to me, didn't you, Ashley? Change your thinking, change your life. That's what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. And today we're going to talk about the subject of reframing. What comes into your mind comes out in your life. You cannot have a positive life with a negative mind. Try it. Doesn't work. It just doesn't work. When you control what you think, it helps you to control what you do. So the thought that we're talking about again today is the mind. And as we think about that, we just have to conclude this. Our thoughts matter. And maybe for the most of your life, you have thought this. Maybe for the most of your life, you thought, you know what I think doesn't bother anybody, and nobody knows what I think. They can't see my brain. They can't see my thoughts. They're not displayed anywhere on any billboard. So therefore, it doesn't matter what I think. I can think what I want. I'm my own boss. I'm my own person, and nobody can control what I think. So therefore, it doesn't even matter what I think. It matters what we think. Our thoughts matter. We're going to revisit the scripture that we've looked at for the last couple of weeks, just simply because this is kind of the text key verses that we're moving from. And it's in Philippians, this one here is in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians chapter 10. For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. That's a powerful statement. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. I'm going to say that again, okay? We demolish, we that are in Christ Jesus, with the help and power of God, we demolish them. Arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Paul was on a roll. Paul witnessed this. He lived this, and he understood this was happening in his life. And as he was writing this letter to the church of Corinth, he says, hey, I want to tell you guys something. This can also be true for you. Trust me. I'm experiencing it. I'm witnessing it, and so can you. The power of the brain that God created is really, really amazing. And your life will always move in the direction of its strongest thoughts. Let me say it again. Your life will always move in the direction of its strongest thoughts. And I'm not a brain surgeon or a doctor, but I know from reading and from studying and from those who know way, way more than I, tell us that there are those, what they call those neural paths that are in, those pathways that are in our brain, which tell us this, that the more we think a thought, it creates a pathway, and it makes it easier for us to think about that time and time again, okay? The more we think a thought, the easier it is to think that thought because we have created a pathway with that thought. So today, I want to kind of introduce another idea, okay? It's an idea that is called the cognitive biases, or those mental filters, or a mental framework that comes into our life. And let me give you a definition of this cognitive bias. Mistake in reasoning based on a personal preferences or beliefs. A mistake in reasoning based on personal preferences or belief. In other words, it's a mental filter that impacts how you think. And just to make it really, really simple, I think we can just maybe do this. Let's say I have on somebody else's glasses, okay? And if I could have really created this illustration, I would have, if I just would have prepared for it. But I'm just going to pretend like I got somebody else's glasses on, right? I can't find mine, so I picked up your glasses. So I'm going to pick up somebody else's glasses because I have a weird prescription, okay? So I'm going to pick up yours, and now I'm going to go, oh, Bob, you look terrible. Oh, my word, what have you been doing? Oh, Bob, I've never seen you look so bad. You look horrible. Maybe it's because it's raining so much. That would be a reason for a farmer to look bad today. Maybe he has a reason to look bad. So what I'm saying is, it depends on whose frame and whose glasses, what lens you're looking out of. A mental filter that impacts how we think, okay? How we think. And as we think about these wrong mental filters, okay? There are people in our world today, and probably even in Plymouth, maybe not, but maybe so, okay, that have wrong mental filters that they're looking through. And it's really messing some things up for them, okay? Have you ever known the fact of two people can look at the very same thing or be involved in the very same situation and come out of there and have two completely distinctive ideas, opinions, or arguments regarding what they both just witnessed? It happens all the time in my life, and it happens all the time in your life, okay? And we can just go on with all kinds of illustrations about that this morning. But two exact same situations, but yet two completely different thoughts, opinions, arguments, and facts, not facts, but they think they're facts regarding that very thing. So the problem is this. It's not the facts of that situation that has changed. It's only the filter. It's only that mental filter that you're looking through regarding that situation. And my goodness, it really, have you ever been around certain people and you've got to be careful what you say just simply because they can twist it? And it's awful. It's really awful. One thing I've learned is this. Oh, happy Father's Day. Oh. Well, they just keep coming in. That's tremendous. Some more of my kids. Texting can be great. Matter of fact, sometimes I would rather text you than talk to you. All right, that okay? And you say, I feel the same about you. I know you do. Sure you do. But you know what? It's hard to put a personality in that text. And sometimes we can text something and say something, and the response, why are they responding that way? Then I read my text and I'm thinking, oh, I can see how they could think that, but I didn't mean that. I just meant that, Bob, you look bad. That's all I meant. Walk into a room, Oh, this is a beautiful room. I love the way you have it decorated. Oh boy, that's not what I thought. It depresses me. I can't believe he chose those colors. I can't believe he chose that floor. I can't believe he chose that kitchen. I can't believe. Now, they don't say it to my face because they're kind of excited that I've got, some things going on. But anyway, let's say it's your house, all right? Or you get back in the car, you say, you know what? I really, everybody's got their own opinion, but I really didn't like what I saw. And your spouse would go, oh, really? I thought it was way nicer than yours. I can't believe you said that. Well, I'm just telling you what my opinion is. The facts don't change. It's still a nice looking room, or it's still a nice paint job, or it's still a whatever. The facts don't change. But the filter that we have, what we're seeing, what we're seeing through our filter is really, really what is going on and makes all the difference. A mom can just say, hey, honey, brush your teeth before we leave. And the kid could walk in the bedroom and say, Mom hates me. Why does Mom hate you? Because just the way she told me to go brush my teeth. Oh, really? I don't think Mom hates you. Yes, she does. She never told you that. Why brush my teeth? What is it? Mom doesn't hate you. The fact is you need to brush your teeth. The facts haven't changed. It's the filter. It's what you thought. It's what you put in your brain. It's what you processed. It's what you came up with. People that just imagine things that are going on that aren't even going on. Really? I didn't know. Oh, yeah, did you? No, oh, no, I know. That's exactly what they said. That's exactly what. No. It's what we are thinking. It's what our filter is saying to us. So, I'm going to talk about reframing, what we can do to help ourselves with that very thing. And it's very important. And Paul gives us a perfect example of how we can change that and how we can help ourselves with that. Before I go on, I want to say this. I've talked to some people this past week. Their situation looked very, very grim, very, very sad, very, very discouraging. And when I was able to talk to certain individuals this past week and they gave me the bright side of where they're at, I thought, oh my goodness, what a way of looking at a situation in the right way. So as we think about the reframing this morning, I want us to look at what, first of all, let me give you the kind of definition of reframing. It's creating a different way of looking at a situation, okay, or a person, do you hear me? Or a relationship by changing its meaning, okay? So basically, we could say a lot of big words and all that, but basically, it's just basically this. It's thinking differently than maybe we have thought differently before. So, all right, I want you to introduce to you my very homemade illustration that I think will work. I think it'll work. Because you're people with great imagination, and I really like that, okay? That's the only reason I'm still your pastor, all right? Anyway, wasn't that funny, all right? Okay, all right, we're going to look at this. And in this picture, we have the dark side, Pastor Dan over here, the clouds and the thunder and lightning. Awful, just depressing, isn't it? And over here we have the sunshine. And you're looking out saying, nope, not today. More rain on the way. All right, so here's what we've got to do. There are situations in our life that you and I have got to just reframe. We've got to reframe the situation. So here's what I have a choice of doing, and so do you. All right? I can say, oh my goodness, it's just a horrible, horrible day. Oh, it's terrible. I can't believe it. But in the midst of that, we can also know that there's sunshine. Over here, sunshine. It's just a picture that shows both. And this picture that shows both the clouds and all this ugly stuff is, in the same picture, is also the sunshine and the beauty of nature. And in the things that we go through in life, there are times that we have to get very, very intentional of reframing. And I know it to be a fact. Because you know what? I've been doing it all week long. I've been reframing all week. I texted Heather. I said, reframing, still going on. Reframing, still going on. Yep. She's putting together the sermon. She has some questions. I said, yep, reframing over here where I'm at today. Some of you haven't moved in 50 years, and some of you haven't stayed in a place more than 5. So either I can say, oh, I'm excited about moving, or I can say, oh, this is driving me crazy. Who in the world? Why are there so many totes and tubs and boxes? Why are there so many spider webs on these boxes that haven't been touched for 10, 15, 20 years? And I understand. And I wasn't upset because I was moving some stuff that was mine and Loretta's, or that was even hers, because that's part of my job. But you know what? I got a little attitude a couple different times when I realized all this stuff I was doing. Matter of fact, I was in my basement for about 5 hours and had a guy just carrying stuff up. Dump trucks out back, carrying stuff up. We've got more tubs empty now than full. Not really, but almost. I mean, anybody want to buy some tubs? They're running a half sale price. In the midst of all that I was doing, let me just get to the point. In the midst of all that I was doing, I had to reframe and tell myself, okay, this is okay. I'm not laying in the hospital. I didn't have a car wreck, okay? I just didn't get a call that one of my siblings or my sons is bad sick or something wrong is going on in their life. And I really had to reframe and reframe and reframe. And in the midst of saying, you know what, 80% of this stuff's not even mine, but I'm being a blessing. I'm just being a blessing. I'm being a blessing to my boys who have had stuff in my basement for 35 years. I'm being a blessing to Michael. I'm being a blessing to Todd. You know, their mother put all this stuff in tubs and she saved it for them. I didn't know what was in there. Obviously, I didn't do it. And here it is. You know what? So I came up with a conclusion. I think I know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to leave everything that is theirs in the basement. I'm reframing, okay? You got to do it, folks. You got to do it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave everything in the basement that belongs to them. See how I'm smiling? See, the blood pressure went down. I started feeling better. Everything got different when I reframed the whole situation. So, okay, Michael's, Todd's. Although the basement's not quite big enough to handle all their stuff. But anyway, I'm going to leave their stuff in there, and the stuff that was mine, and the stuff that even wasn't mine, that's not theirs. I'm going to take care of it on my own. It's reframing. Now, that might be like a little bit of a crude illustration, but it's very, very pertinent to what we're saying, simply because I just experienced it, okay? Remember the little guy that was out, and he said, I'm the best hitter in the world. He threw the ball up and missed it, and he threw the ball up and missed it. I'm the best hitter in the world. I'm the best hitter in the world. Never hit it one time. I'm the best hitter in the world. I'm the number one hitter in the world, and never one time hit that ball. And finally he said, doggone it. He said, I'm the best pitcher too. What did he do? He reframed it. And let me say this. On a good day, on a bad day, on just an average day, there are times in our life that we just have to reframe some things, guys and ladies. We have to just reframe them. And the Apostle Paul, he did just that. He had this dream of going to Rome and to preach, and now he's a prisoner. Everything changed. Everything changed for him. And there's times that maybe you say, okay, I worked hard on that degree, and yeah, I got overlooked, and maybe I'm overqualified for the job, or maybe there was this one deal that you was doing and it didn't work out and you thought you would get the promotion, but what is it? You got to reframe yourself. And folks, I do it every single day, and I'm doing it more than I really realized that I needed to, because it's part of life's situation. There's time we just got to reframe it. We can look at it. Sure, there's clouds there. Sure, it's dark. Absolutely. But you know what? Also, there's sunshine. Also, there's a good God. Also, life is good. Also, we can look at the situation and say, okay, it's not as bad as it could be, because we have taken time to reframe our situation. And then in Philippians, this is what he said. Now I know, now I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what has happened to me has actually served to advance the gospel. How in the world did he even say that? As a result, it has become clear throughout the whole palace guard and to everyone else that I am in chains for Christ. What most people would think to be bad, Paul says, I'm going to frame it for the good. Yes, he said, now you know what? He said, because I'm in these chains. He said, now every 8 hours they change the Roman guard. So now he said, I'm influencing more than just one person. He said, basically, he said, they're the ones that are in chains. What was it? Because he reframed himself. And because of my chains, most of the brothers and sisters have become confident in the Lord and dare all the more to proclaim the gospel without fear because of what Paul was going through. Okay, reframing your story and relationship with God. Number one, thank God for what didn't happen. How often do we do that? How often do we take the time and say, oh my goodness, I'm just so thankful for what didn't happen. See what could have taken place, but it didn't. For some reason, I don't know why, I don't deserve it, but for some reason, God spared me. Even though I don't like this whole deal, but I'm going to just look at what didn't happen. It could have been worse. It could have been worse. It could have been worse. It's a girl that came home from college. And she said her parents down and said, I need to talk to you. She said things aren't good. She said, I met this guy at a bar and hooked up with him, and I'm pregnant with twins, and his probation will be over in a year, and then he's going to start looking for a job once he's out of rehab, and he's considering to marry me, but we can't afford it, so he's kind of moved in. And then she said, I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. She said, what I just told you, none of it's true. But I am getting a D on my chemistry. Yep. It could always be worse. It could always be worse. Yeah. You missed a deadline and there's no bonus, but you didn't lose your job, okay? The fender is tore up on the car and it's going to be kind of expensive, but no one was hurt. The flight was delayed and you were upset and it was very inconvenient, but it's better to be down here than up there right now, looking at things differently. Practice reframing. I think the one thing that we need to do, and this is what I'm really trying to have God help me to do, practice reframing your life. Before the event, before what takes place, don't have a negative attitude, but just practice reframing. If somebody says, hey, I'm going to buy your house. I'm going to buy your house. And they tell you that verbally, it's like people that come to a tag sale and say, hey, I'll be back at noon to get that freezer off of the back patio. After 3 people tell you that, you just say, it's okay. Somebody wants it. Obviously, it wasn't them. You've got to reframe it, okay? So I think there's things in our life that go on. We just got to kind of practice reframing those things. As we look at the things that go on in our life, I think it's easy for us to say, wow, there's a variety of things, right? There's a variety of things. If we would take some time this morning and we would just have everybody write down 4 or 5 good things and 4 or 5 bad things or sad things that are going on in your life, whichever one you're looking at this morning, whichever one, we all could have both. We could all have both. But I think as we practice reframing, it will really help us, okay? Belief determines how we behave. What we believe determines on how we behave. If we're just believing bad things and sad things and nothing's going to happen, we're going to kind of behave that way. We're going to have our shoulders down. We're going to have our head down. We're going to, begin. That's going to be our conversation. It's going to be even our body language. It's going to be what we fill the room with when we walk in. But at the same time, if we're believing the good, if we're believing different things, and put it in God's hands, and we know whatever happens is going to be God's purpose, and it helps us to behave differently, okay? It really, really does. I think there are many things that are going on in our life that we just need to take some time and just practice our reframing. I know that life's not perfect for anybody regarding how we would like to have this perfect life. If we wrote down what a perfect life would be, and there would never be a storm, there would never be rain, there would never be anything sad, and there'd never be any bills that would come in, and there would never be anything that would break in the house, and the kids would never get sick, and if we wanted that perfect, but we understand. We are able to understand that that's not the way that life's going to go, because we're living in a fallen world because of fallen man. Had nothing to do with God being a bad God at all. Okay? God's a good God. He's a good Father. So I think the third thing we need to do, we need to look at God's goodness. I think the best thing that I can do when I don't feel good, when I don't like what's going on, when I could be discouraged, when I could have a reason, I think a rightful reason to complain, or a rightful, legitimate reason to have my case. And it's not that it's not true, it's a fact. Why do we not just say, okay, you know what? And this is tough, but let me just get this into you before we close out. Why can't we, and why don't we just say, wow, God is still good? Look at the goodness of God. We find what we're looking for, okay? You want to see something bad, you're going to find it. You want to see something good, you're going to find it. We find what we're looking for. The buzzard, what's he looking for? I can't, maybe I do look like a buzzard, but these guys are, they're scary, and they're always, here they are. They find exactly what they're looking for. They do. And the little hummingbird, you find what it's looking for. The sweet stuff, the nectar. What is it? We find what we're looking for. If you write nothing else down today, write that down. We find what we're looking for. And looking at the goodness of God, I think we need is this, maybe do this. Let's let Jesus help us decide. Let's let Jesus help us decide. Because sometimes we don't know what to look for. Sometimes because of our humanity and because of the fact that we are maybe too emotional or we don't have the right perspective, whatever. That's when we got to ask Jesus. We got to ask, God, you know what? You know I'm upset. You know I'm just not quite what I need to be, and I know that, and you know that. Will you just help me to find something good in this whole situation, or give me a lesson, teach me something, and it's ugly, it's crummy, and I don't like it, and there's nothing in it that is positive that I can see. Can you please help me? Can you please help me to see what I need to see? How easy is it when good things happen, we say, oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Hey, Pastor Rich, thank you for your prayers. I got the job. I got that promotion. Or, the kid's fine. The surgery went well. Hey, whatever. Thank you. But why do we just turn away from God when things are the other way? Paul is basically saying to us, okay, let's look for God's goodness. Let's just look for it. Let's reframe. Let's reframe. Let's not look at it this way. I want to make this statement right here. We're not going to interpret God through the circumstances, but we're interpreting our circumstances through the goodness of God. I'm going to say it again. This is key. We're not going to interpret God through our circumstances. All right, they're bad. You know, we wouldn't sing Good Father when things are bad going on if we have that very immature mindset. But we're going to interpret our circumstances through the goodness of God. There must be a reason. There must be something way beyond what my mind can even fathom. Don't know what it is. But God, I know this. You are good, and you're awesome, and you're powerful, and there's nothing that surprises you. I don't have a clue what's going on, and maybe I never will, but that's not going to change. That's not going to change what I think of you or how I think of you. That's always the right way to think. You can't control what happens to you. Never have been able to, and never can. But you can control how you frame it. What's happened to you? Oh. What's happened to you? Oh. You want the first person that had a bad situation? You want the first person that had a bad break, as you would look at it? And neither was I. It's going to keep on happening. But here's my choice. No matter if I live 2 more days or 20 more years, I've made a decision to do this right here. Now I want you to listen to me. And if you see me doing any differently, I want you to call me out on it, okay? And I mean that with very, very strong conviction. I'm saying this and I'm done. Then we're going to have the offering. And we've already prayed for it. Listen to me. Whether I live 2 more hours or 2 more minutes or 20 more years, I've made a decision. I am not going to let anything detour me from my love for God, from my appreciation of Him. And even if I don't understand it, even if I question it, and I never have the answer to it, I'd never want to interpret my situation and then size God up to that situation, whether it's good or bad. God's right there no matter what is going on in my life. He's steady. He's strong. He's the rock. He's never going to change. He loves me. He cares for me. He's concerned about me. He knows the big picture way better than I do, and I'm so glad. I don't even need to see the big picture, and neither do you. But I've determined I'm going to live, whether it's 2 more hours or 2 more days or 20 or 30 more years. It's my determination, and it's my pledge. I'm going to live strong for Christ, with an attitude. Maybe I don't know the answer, but I'm never going to be that person that puts God at a lower level just simply because things didn't quite go the way I thought they should. I've made that choice. I've taken some time to reframe some things. I haven't always been that way. But God is teaching me. Last week we talked about meditation, the importance of meditation. I hope you did some this week. Hope you did some. I was doing some meditation even as I was going through some of those tubs in the basement. That's maybe the only way I got through. It was a great day. Reframing. is huge.